Alright, so 10 months after my intro video, I have not forgotten. I've been playing chess and I've gone down like 50 ELO over the last 10 months. And I am finally back. So, since I'm back, we're going to look over one of my best games that I played yesterday, actually. Alright, so the guy I'm playing against is 638 ELO. And I start off with black. I know zero openings with black. I just know like the general idea of what an opening is. So this should have gone well. Should not have gone well. If you look through my game history, I've lost the last like 15 matches consecutively. All right, so he starts off with king's pawn, and then I play my king's pawn too. So general opening moves. Oh wait, so then he starts off with this, which means he was gonna pull out his bishop, which is exactly what he did. A few opening moves later. So as you can see here, I have a pretty solid opening position. We had all four of our knights out, 4 knights game, and he pushes his pawn, his d pawn. He plays d3, which means He's not only like he's trying to not instigate a fight, so he's protecting his e pawn, and he's not challenging my e pawn. So I move forward and attack his knight, and this is like if you look at it from his perspective, this position is not very fun. It's like because I've penetrated through his forces, and then I'm on his half of the board, and he can't really do anything about it. So he moves forward by moving his knight closer to my king. And then I pin his knight to the queen, but like I said, he was going to move his bishop out, and he moves his bishop out. I follow up by a6. Now, this was to kick out the knight, obviously. He takes my pawn, which, if you look at the evaluation, I'm winning this position now. That was a blunder. I take back with my knight. I expected him to take with his knight. He then pins my knight with his bishop to my queen. So if you look at the position right now, my pieces are fairly well developed compared to his. I have a knight up in his area. I have a bishop positioned and pinning his knight so he can't take my knight. So I have a generally good position. So originally my plan was to move this pawn up and attack his bishop immediately, but I wanted to like develop my other pieces and then unpin this knight, because the more pieces I have, because that knight is perfectly positioned. So I went ahead with bishop out to stop the pin. He castles, which I did not expect him to do. I expected him to take the knight. And then I move my queen up, further defending the knight and getting rid of any idea of a pin. He then goes ahead and attacks my knight, and then my next move was to take his knight here to offer up a trade on f3. So I take, he takes, I take, he takes with his queen. And then I thought I had a fairly comfortable position here, so I moved ahead with h6 because he castled that way, and I felt like pushing my pieces forward that way. He moves his bishop back, and what I saw here was an open pawn right in the center that was protected by the queen, but no longer was due to the bishop moving. So I took. He attacked with his rook, so I moved closer. He moved his bishop away, which I thought was a blunder. I castled, same side castled, because I have barely any pieces on the other side, and that's generally not a good idea. He moves his pawns. He thinks I'm threatening his pawns, but my next few moves will show you what my real plans were. So I saw an open pawn here. He wouldn't take with the queen because my knight's defended. He moves his rook up, which is an instant blunder of his rook. So these next few moves, you're going to see me gain huge advantages. I thought he would take the knight, but instead he goes for my rook, which is defended. I don't know what he's doing. It's a side pawn, not worth much. I take his other rook. He takes back my knight, which took 2 rooks with it, so that was fine. I take his bishop and give him check. And then he moves inwards. So now his king's kind of trapped, but it's also like in a position where I can't give any checks. So his last strong piece is his queen, so he moves his queen back to stop any ideas of me checking him, which I honestly don't get this move, honestly. Maybe he was defending his pawn. Who knows? I move in my rook. I have 2 rooks. Once I moved my rook and I was waiting for his move, I thought it would be better if I actually moved this rook here and then had this rook open for this file. That would have been a good idea. But it was fine because he was playing terribly. He followed that up with pawn moves, and then I directly attacked his queen. He took, and then I gave a check. But right now, what I wanted was to take this pawn with my bishop. Once he took back, I would go with my rook here, and then it was like genuine. It was like over. It was Jover. So that's not what happened because he can easily take my rook here. So what I did was attack his queen while also protecting my rook. Bishop f6. He moves his queen away. And then I execute the plan. I take that pawn. He takes back with the pawn. I take that. And then he moves forward. So I protect my rook and get closer to the king with my queen by moving to the corner of the board. He moves his pawn forward, which didn't really do much. My options of checking him were here and here. And obviously here his queen can just take me, so that's what I did. Check. He moved further. I gave him another check. Now this check right here, this actually forks his king and his queen. And my idea was that I already had a rook. I was going to sacrifice both my queen and my rook for his queen. It's probably his queen. And once that played out, he was only a king with 3 pawns, while I had 5 pawns and a king and a rook. So I was winning this position. So after the trade, I decided to take his pawn. No, I gave him a check with my pawn. He moved away. I took that pawn, so he was down 2 pawns. And then I started moving my rook to munch on the rest of his pawns. He moved closer to mine. I ignored it. He moved his other pawn. Here, the only moves I had were to either attack this pawn with my rook or move my h pawn forward, because he wouldn't risk his last pawn and his only chance of victory. So my idea was move up the h pawn. It did not need to protect the g pawn. So I moved it up. He takes. I attacked his pawn. Obviously, he moved forward rather than taking it. So I decided to keep moving. And then the king got closer. And I eventually made a queen. So I had mate in 6. And I decided to completely humiliate him with my next few moves. He moves his pawn up. I attack the pawn. He gets closer with his king, and I sacrifice my queen. He takes. I move my other pawn up. I knew he was going to take it. I still... Oh, wait, yeah. So I was planning on moving this pawn. This is yesterday, my bad. I have terrible memory. He takes. I move this pawn up. And you'd think I would promote to a queen. I promoted to a knight. The game was already overframed. I know how to end a game with the king and a rook, so I was planning on sacrificing both my knight and my remaining pawn. So while he's running away, I gave him a check. I gave him an opportunity to take my knight. He refused for some reason. I gave him a check. He came back, and then I moved my pawn. So he has a choice here: either get rid of a future queen or get rid of a knight. But if he took the knight, he could still catch up to my pawn. So he takes the knight. I don't think he calculated that. I move forward. He takes my pawn. And then I end the game with a rook and my king. Normal end game. Anyway, I thought this was like one of my better games recently, considering how bad I've been playing. And that's kind of why I stopped posting like 10 months ago, like right after my intro video. And that's checkmate. And yeah, that was the game. I'm going to be posting more. I'm going to be posting puzzles as shorts. And yeah, I'm back.